Hello, my friends. Welcome. Welcome once again to the rustic Vaughan Lodge. And here I am plagued by visions. Visions of a terrible internet connection, which would not let me upload the Sunday Penguin yesterday, causing the crushing disappointment of maybe 3 or 4 people. I am plagued by visions of a mysterious package. Plagued by visions of a box full of books for a totally unnecessary book haul. Plagued by visions of a gigantic book which never, ever ends. Yes, I am here, plagued by visions. Mostly I'm plagued by visions of what might be in this mysterious box, which I received mailed to me by Juan over at Plagued by Visions, a fantastic booktube channel. You should all be watching Juan at Plagued by Visions. You probably all do anyway because he's fantastic. Juan is one of the greatest booktubers of all time. And his channel is magnificent. His channel is like at Pax Panic level of greatness. And if you've seen Pax Panic, then you know what I'm talking about. It's just that good. And he was kind enough to send me this box that I'm going to open here because you know that these packages must be unwrapped on camera, according to the booktube police. It's a law or something, and I don't want to break the law. So, I'm going to take my box opener here, and I'm going to open this package. Remember always to cut away from you. Cut away from you. Okay, let's open this package here. Here. Okay. Let's see what my friend Juan over Plagued by Visions sent me. Could be anything. It could just be, some human hands that he just threw in there. It could be just some sort of dead animal. It could be just a curse or just cursed items. Who knows? Who knows what I'll find in this mysterious box. I'm betting it's books though, because we both like books, so that's pretty exciting to me. So I'm going to open this box and show you what he got me, and then I'm going to show you some books that I got recently and I dragged up here to the lodge so I can do a completely unnecessary book haul. But yes, let's see what's in this box. Okay, this is pretty exciting. Are these cursed objects? I think they're just packing material. So let's put those back. Okay. Oh, this is cool. This is pretty cool. This is a Jack Ketchum book. Now, this is The Girl Next Door. That's fantastic because I've been wanting to read this one. Everybody's read this book but me. So I finally get to read this book. Oh, this is definitely going in my next 5 books. Definitely. Can't wait to get to this one. The Girl Next Door by Jack Ketchum. Now, Juan is one of the few brave souls who is still doing the Read Every Book by challenge. There were some people who took up this challenge, and a few of them are still doing it. Another bibliophile, Reed, is still doing it. Juan is still doing it. So, yeah. And he's read a few of these Jack Ketchums, and he's going to read every single one. The Girl Next Door. I'm looking forward to that. Thank you very much, Juan. That is very kind of you. You're amazing, and your channel is incredible. But there's another book in here. Oh, there's 2 books in here. More Jack Ketchum. That's pretty cool. Okay, this is Off Season. I think I might have heard of this. Oh, it's got the obligatory Stephen King blurb. That's nice. If you read Off Season on Thanksgiving, you probably won't sleep until Christmas. That is a good blurb, my friend Stephen King. It makes me want to read this book so I can, not sleep. Off Season. Pretty good cover there. I have no idea what this is about. I almost don't want to know. But I've heard about this book, and now I can't remember where I heard about it, but there's another one in here with the promising title of Offspring. Jack Ketchum's Offspring. There's what looks like a necklace of bones. I was kind of expecting that when I opened this box. Something along those lines, but I'm glad it was this. Jack Ketchum's Offspring. Thank you, my friend. This is fantastic. I will read all of these books, of course. I'm looking forward to it. That's awesome. That was very kind of you. And these are perfect. These are in perfect shape. So I guess these aren't copies that he read. If he read these copies, he didn't touch them as he read them. It seems like. He must be very careful with books if these are ones that he read. But these seem brand new to me. Thank you, my friend. That's fantastic. Probably the best part of my book haul was right there. I was going to give you a quick status report because I'm still reading this gigantic book. Normally by now I would have had a review of whatever Stephen King book I've been reading, but this one is huge. I'm over halfway through. Now, I read this once before when I was a younger man. I don't remember how young, but it was young enough that it must have been, I believe, the cut version of it. It was the original published version, which was, I think, several hundred pages shorter. And I remember really being impressed by it. I thought it was great. Totally immersive, very readable, great characters. I thought it was great. Here I am reading it now as an old guy, and I'm like, There's some great stuff in here. There's some terrible stuff in here. This is the mixed bag to end all mixed bags. It's a giant book that really doesn't need to be this giant for the story that he's trying to tell. I think like I said, I haven't got to the end of it yet, so I actually don't remember how this ends. It was that long ago that I read it. But wow, what a mixed bag. Great stuff with terrible stuff. Great characters, and then you have some good characters in this book. But then you have, recently I finished a scene with the trash can man and the kid. The psychotic rapist, the kid, who is a little guy who dresses like Elvis, but is basically Yosemite Sam. The kid is pretty much Yosemite Sam. The only difference between the kid and Yosemite Sam, aside from how they dress, is that Yosemite Sam is a more complex, more nuanced character than the kid. But the kid is a total cartoon character. He's absolutely ridiculous. Completely ridiculous, the kid. You can't take this character seriously for a second because he is a cartoon character. And he put it in this book with all of these other characters that you're supposed to take seriously, in this world that you're supposed to take seriously, and then he puts ridiculous stuff in it, and he puts the kid in it, and the kid is absurd. That whole section was absurd. Still got a long ways to go on this book. I think I don't know. It's a gigantic book. I've still got a ways to go. But that's my stand progress report. That's why you haven't gotten a book review. I'm not finished yet. But boy, is it going to be a long review when I finally get to it. I've got a lot to say about that book, The Stand. I liked it so much the first time I read it that when I did my top 5 Stephen King books, which I did when I started this channel pretty much, that was one of the top 5. It's not going to remain there, I guarantee you, because I remember some other books that are a lot better than this. Not that this is absolutely awful or that it's terrible or anything like that. It's just, it's got too much awfulness in it to be good. You know what I mean? Like, all the good stuff that's in it, and there's a lot of good stuff in this book. So far, at least, it's being overshadowed by the nonsense. But we'll get to that later on. Now I've got a book haul to do of some books that I've acquired recently. You'll notice that, first of all, the whole fact that I'm doing this today and not a Mythos Monday shows you what a wretched start to this week has been. My plans are all dashed. The only thing I know for sure I'm going to do this week is that I'm going to have, hopefully, my Sunday Penguin up tomorrow. It's going to be a Tuesday Penguin. Fortunately, in the video, I didn't say Sunday Penguin once. I checked. But it's basically a Sunday Penguin on Tuesday. I'll have that up tomorrow. And I'll have my comic book video on Wednesday. But anything else, who knows? But I'm happy to get this up today. So, up the street from the stately Vaughan Manor, if you go past our extensive grounds and go to the neighborhood outside the manor, there's a house over there that I pass when I walk my dogs. Very nice family lives in this house. I've spoken to them a few times. Very nice people in this house. But one thing that they do in this house, if they want to get rid of stuff, if they have stuff that they just want to get rid of, they just leave it on their lawn. And they'll leave it on their lawn until someone takes it. I guess it works. Sometimes stuff hangs out on their lawn for quite some time. Other times, gone immediately. So I go by this house basically every day. Every morning I walk by this house. And I always check out what he's got on his lawn because there's always something on their lawn. So far, there's been nothing I've wanted until a couple days ago. And they had a couple books on their lawn. And I'm like, I actually want those books. Those are good books that I've heard about. So I took these books off of this family's lawn, as was intended. And one of the books I got was a popular science fiction novel from a few years ago. I think it came out in the early 90s. And I never read it. This is Neil Stephenson's Snow Crash. This is supposed to be really good, but I never read it. I'm assuming somebody out there has read it who is watching this, maybe. Because like I said, it was a popular book, I believe, for a while in the early 90s. So let me know if it's any good. But I picked it right up because I knew it had I think it has a good reputation, this book. Let me know if I'm wrong on that too. But I think so. So I got that. And I also got this one, which is a science fiction classic, which shockingly I've not only never read, I didn't have a copy of until now because it was on this family's lawn. And it was this one. This is Ringworld by Larry Niven. And I've been intending to read this like my whole life, and I just never have. But now I've got a copy, and so now I'm going to be reading it, along with, all the other 9 billion books in my vintage science fiction collection. So Ringworld by Larry Niven. It was free. I had to take it. So I'm looking forward to that. And then I went out and I bought some books. I got some used books from a bookstore. Actually walked in an actual bookstore and bought some books. And one of the books was one of the books I've actually been looking for, which is rare for me when I go to a bookstore. I never find something I'm actually looking for. But this is a David Gemmell book, and I'm reading every book by David Gemmell the same way I'm reading every book by Stephen King. And I'm doing it in publication order because I started out with Legend, which was his first book, which isn't the first book in the series that it's in, but it's the first book that he published. So I'm just going to read them in publication order so I can read them as his fans read them as they came out. And so I can see how he developed as a writer. And the second book that he wrote was a book called The King Beyond the Gate, and I found a copy. And this is the book right here. This is David Gemmell's The King Beyond the Gate. And it's a pristine, perfect copy. It's a used book. I don't know how old it is, but it's in perfect shape. It's completely untouched. That's pretty rare from a used bookstore. So I was pretty happy to get this, The King Beyond the Gate. Definitely going to be in the next 5 books I read from that list, along with that Jack Ketchum book. I also found another book that I've been wanting to get because I looked. I was sure I had this book. I was sure I had it. I looked. I don't have it until now, so I picked it up. This is a Penguin edition of Middlemarch by George Eliot. Always hear good things about Middlemarch, so I picked it up because, like I said, I didn't have it. It's a Penguin classic, so after I read it, I'll do a Sunday Penguin, hopefully on Sunday, but if not, on whatever day I can get it up. This is one of the newer Penguin classics. They changed their cover design, I believe out of self-defense, because if you go on Amazon and put in a classic book title, whatever classic book you could think of that's in the public domain, a bunch of covers will pop up that look just like Penguin covers. And you can't always tell on these little postage stamp pictures whether it's really a penguin or not, and you might make a mistake. I think Penguin recognized that. They redesigned their cover design so that even on postage stamp signs, you can tell that this is a penguin because they widened the stripe, put the penguin right there a little larger, changed the font and everything. So I think that's probably one of the reasons why they changed their cover design. I could be wrong, but I suspect that's why. Because their cover design was so popular on their classics, everybody stole it. Yeah, but I hear this is a very good book. I'm shocked that I haven't read it. I thought I had read it. But now I'm thinking, when I saw this, I thought of it, have I read that? And now I'm not sure. I don't think I have. So I'm going to read it. Middlemarch by George Eliot. That should be good. I hear great things about that. This next one's interesting. There is a guy on BookTube named Gary Lovisi who has a great channel. Gary has a great channel. He sent me some magazines recently. He edits a magazine. I think it's called Paperback Parade, but if I'm wrong, I'll put the right title down below. I don't have them with me, but it's actually a pretty good magazine, which is all that he publishes. That's all about old paperbacks for paperback collectors. And he actually writes books as well, and so I got this. This is one of his short novels, novelette maybe, The Winged Men by Gary Lovisi. The first of a series, which is inspired by the John Carter of Mars books. So, I love those books. Sure, I'll read this. So I picked up Gary's book, The Winged Men by Gary Lovisi. This looks like fun. Looks like fun. I love John Carter. I'm rereading all of the Edgar Rice Burroughs books. And so that'll be fun to do. But this next book is one that I picked up while I was at that used bookstore. This is another book that I had a copy of, and it mysteriously vanished. I suspect the phantom of the library, the phantom who stalks the dark halls of stately Vaughan Manor and steals my books, puts them in strange places so that I'll find them later in an odd place, like underneath a plant or, in the medicine cabinet, just somewhere strange. But so far, I have not found this book again. I think it's gone. I don't know if I lent it to somebody. I don't know what I did. But this is Haunted Castles by Ray Russell. And this is a great copy. This is the Penguin Horror copy. They had a Penguin Horror line. I've showed at least one book in that line, maybe two. And this is a great copy of this book, Haunted Castles by Ray Russell. Look at that cover. That's just crazy. So this is Ray Russell's Gothic stories, his complete Gothic stories. I have not read all of his Gothic stories. I've read a couple in anthologies. But this will give me an opportunity to read every one of his Gothic stories, Ray Russell. I have his other book, his novel, The Case Against Satan, which Juan at Plagued by Visions is reading this month as one of his Plagued by Visions Book of the Month Club books, whatever it's called. I can never remember. But it's one of his picks for this month was The Case Against Satan. So I was happy to get this one so I can just read them both. Both published by Penguin. But the Penguin Horror line was cool. Little hardback with no dust jacket and the black borders there, black end papers. You have that cool title looking page. Just a really interesting design. A little bit over the top, this design, but I like it. Just like this cover is a little crazy, but I like it. So I was happy to get that. Last thing I have in here is an Epic collection. I always get Epic collections. Every Wednesday I do my Marvel Epic Wednesday with Steve Donahue. And one of Steve Donahue's favorite artists of all time is an artist called Herb Trimpe. And I got this book. This is The Incredible Hulk, Crisis on Counter-Earth. 500 pages almost of artwork by the fantastic Herb Trimpe. This is actually not true. Steve Donahue hates Herb Trimpe, and he always gives me a hard time because we did a Hulk epic collection, and Steve, he hates the Hulk. Go figure. Who knows why. But he doesn't like the Hulk because he's strange that way. But I mentioned somewhere in that video about Herb Trimpe and how Herb Trimpe did a bunch of Hulk stories or something, and he got the idea that I just love Herb Trimpe. He thinks I'm a big Herb Trimpe fan, so he's always giving me trouble. I'm not a big Herb Trimpe fan, mostly because Herb Trimpe is kind of terrible. I don't think he's as bad as Steve thinks, but Herb Trimpe's not great. But he is well remembered on this series. A lot of people liked him on the Hulk. And I don't hate him. He just wasn't great. But I've got almost 500 pages of Herb Trimpe now. I threatened Steve that we would make that our Epic Wednesday one Wednesday, and he screamed and passed out. And I don't know if he's woken up yet. We'll see. Yeah, so that's my book haul, where I'm here in the Barn of Terror, plagued by visions. Thank you once again, Juan, for sending that box. That was very thoughtful, very kind of you. Awesome. Thank you, my friend. So yeah, that was it. I will see you tomorrow in a video I did yesterday. It'll be my Sunday Penguin on Tuesday. Tagless Tuesday again. This week's a mess. I will see you then. Bye, guys.